He'll take it, man. He'll take the 2-game sweep. Listen, it's going well. It's going well for New York right now. I mean, I've always hated the 2-game set thing. But it does make it easier for me as a content creator to, you take less notes and you can get through these episodes, hopefully, a little quicker. But, it was a great series. The Yankees are now 6-3 versus Toronto. They played them a lot so far. Good start. Good start. We're going to talk about this. Let's get into it. This is RJ-Carbone, and you're listening to BD4.
This one by Mattingly. Oh, hang on to the roof. Good. The Rose. He shook up the world again. Anthony for 3. Bang! That one goes down. And the game is tied.
See ya. A monster home run. Back-to-back home runs by the baby Bombers.
Penetrates, creates, and shows some dexterity as well with the left hand.
It's on its way. There it goes. And the Yankees are going for the win. Oh, let's go. Off the window. Oh, Jimmy Barrett. Unbelievable. The first punch he threw. Houston ducks under. Got it. With 8 left. It's time. Yankees win. Yankees win.
All right, what is happening, everybody? What's going on? Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA now, too. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on the weekends. I'm your host, RJ-Carbone. Yeah, man, it was good. It was a good, solid, excellent, couldn't have went better 2-game set. And a lot went on. This series kind of had a lot of drama to it. You know what I mean? Obviously, Yankees, Blue Jays, there's a little bit of a rivalry brewing here now. There was some drama. A lot of comeback action in both games, arguments, ejections, the hit by pitch thing. Judge, one of the faces of baseball, with the dramatics in the first game of the set. Big moment there. At the end of, we'll talk about the walk-off. And like I said at the top, 6-3 now versus Toronto this season. They played them 19 games. It's like a third of their schedule already. It's all good. Boston still sucks. 19 losses. Behind Baltimore, I think, by 2 games. Depending on what they do tonight, though, that might change. I'm looking around baseball, and the Yankees I think they still have the best record in baseball. I was looking around the scoreboards last night, and I'm seeing that. I didn't know if anybody else knew this. Luis Castillo, I didn't know he was hurt. I forgot he was hurt. But he debuts the other day. And he looked all right. And I'm like, why the hell? Like, he's still there. Why the hell it hasn't, what's their owner's name? Castellini? Why hasn't Castellini dealt him yet? I think he's still 29 years old. He's still fairly young. I mean, I've heard rumors lately. Hopefully. I mean, you want to get a haul. They can do it, the Yankees and the Reds, eventually. Because I've been in on this guy forever. That's why I'm bringing him up. Because I've always wanted Luis Castillo. Now, their bullpen right now may not need some help, but it doesn't hurt. I mean, shit. Now is different from whenever the deadline is at the end of August. Just something to consider, right? And what would it take? It would take a haul, right? Maybe a few of Gleyber, Hicks, Gallo, maybe Andujar. Some guys you don't use, or some guys you consider expendables. Prospects not named Volpe. maybe Cabrera, maybe Peraza. You know, a combination of some of those guys. It's good, like I said, it's going to have to be a haul one way or another. But I'm looking around the scoreboards, I see Castillo, and I get excited again. Because I'm like, maybe this guy does get dealt eventually. But I don't know why I just brought that up at the top of the show here. I don't know. I was just thinking about it. Oh, and I saw Verlander the other day. Almost gets his 4th career no-hitter. I didn't know he had 3. That's a pretty crazy accomplishment itself. And they were saying how there are only 5 other pitchers in Major League Baseball history with 3+ no-hitters. I think Nolan Ryan leads with 7. Jesus Christ. I actually think it was the same exact way Nestor's no-hitter ended. It was an out into the 8th. I think Verlander was 1 out into the 8th inning, and he does not get it. Speaking of Nestor, he's starting to get some national attention here, man. Major League Baseball has been posting about him on social media. They invited him in to do some kind of promo. I don't know what it was. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. You know, the baseball world is now starting to get to know him more and more. You know what I mean? Once that hype starts coming in, you know, sometimes it can get into a pitcher's head. But I'm interested to see, because he's been on a hell of a ride. And before, he was just kind of our little kept secret. But now everybody's starting to hear about Nestor Cortes. And I think he's due to pitch this upcoming series against the White Sox, if I'm not mistaken. He might miss it, actually. I have to check. Yeah, he might miss it. I think they're going Luis Hill, Cole, and then Montgomery. But still. Speaking of no-hitters, the Rays were actually no-hit, I think, last night. And again, as I record, currently it's May 11th. It's Wednesday, May 11th. Now, as you are listening to this, it's most likely, at the latest, Tuesday, May 12th when I put this out. But yeah, that's going on. But like I said, I'm going to keep an eye on Luis Castillo to see how he pitches. I'm going to keep an eye on the 3-30-something Reds, whatever they are. They're like 6-24 or something like that now. But yeah, I really want him, as you all know. But the Yankees, another great series, a quick little 2-game sweep, right? And we're going to talk about it all. We're going to get into it. We're going to start this one up with our NYY-NYK-MMA question of the day. Okay? And then from there, we'll get into the episode. So let's head to our first break really quick, and then we'll jump right in. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the show. You're listening to episode 366 of BD4. Welcome to the podcast. If you want to subscribe to the podcast, because if for some reason you haven't yet, be sure to do that. Subscribe to the show. Download these episodes wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to them on all the listening platforms. And you can also watch the podcast on Spotify and YouTube. If you want to follow me on social media, you can follow me on Facebook, r.j.carbone. And you can also follow me on Instagram at robjcarbone. Now, let's talk about it, man. It was a good series for the New York Yankees. A good little quick sweep. A little efficient sweep for New York. On, what was it, Tuesday night, the Yankees picked up a 6-5 victory. And it was good to see their offense bounce back. Although it didn't start out great for really the lineup and the pitching for us. Top of the first inning. Let me just make sure we're all set up here. All right, good. Top of the first inning on Tuesday. First off, it was Severino going up against Kikuchi, but Severino at the top of the first gives up a home run to Springer, who leads off the game for Toronto. It's 1-0. The Yankees get a runner on in the bottom of the first when Anthony Rizzo draws a walk, but they get nothing from it. And then in the top of the second, you've got Espinal with the big double that goes off of Hicks' glove, and that ends up being 3-0. 2 runs come across. It's 3-0 for Toronto. Bottom of the second, the Yankees put 2 on. Donaldson and Aaron Hicks draw walks with nobody out. Then you get the mound visit, and then from there, Kikuchi gets hot. I mean, he gets really hot. He retires Gleyber and then IKF and Higgy using his slider. Bottom of the third comes, the Yankees, Kikuchi puts him down, the 4, 5, and 6 batters. No, I think that was the next inning. He puts down, sorry, I read my notes there wrong. In the bottom of the third, the 4th, 5th, and 6th batters in a row are retired when the top of the order cannot produce. Then you get Stanton, Donaldson, and Hicks all going down in order as well. In the bottom of the 4th, that's 9 in a row at the time for Kikuchi. Then he makes it 12 in a row in the bottom of the 5th when Gleyber, IKF, and Higgy go down. So he's throwing a no-hitter. It's looking pretty bad, pretty grim. I'm flipping out. But then, finally, some spark. And this was a big spark. The bottom of the 6th, DJ LeMahieu with a double. Aaron Judge with the base hit. Kikuchi then gets Rizzo to fly out. Then he's pulled after 5 1/3 innings with 2 men on base. That's when Giancarlo Stanton takes the plate, and he shoots a huge game-tying home run to the porch versus Yimi Garcia. Is it Yimi Garcia? On a hanging slider. Foreshadowing. And it's a tie game at 3-3. Donaldson then takes the plate. He gets plunked. Now, nothing happens after that for the Yankees offensively. They don't score after that in the inning, but all hell kind of breaks loose for Toronto Blue Jays. I felt like every single Blue Jay was just getting ejected for no reason. The relief pitcher, Garcia, he gets ejected. Pete Walker gets tossed, their pitching coach. I think in the 7th inning, Charlie Montoyo gets tossed. And I'm just sitting here laughing. I love the fact that they were getting ejected, not because I despise the Jays, but I love how they were getting ejected for no reason. To see them triggered and pissed off that team, I loved it. I love the fact that the Yankees were not the innocent ones, that the Yankees were the bad guys there. And the innocent ones, the good guys in this situation, the Blue Jays, were the ones who wrongfully were getting tossed. And I also loved how Judge and Cole were chirping during that whole thing from the dugout. Those two guys. And obviously, when Donaldson was hit, he talks about it after the game, how he and Tyler Heinerman, the catcher, were apparently going back and forth with each other. And they were asking him about it. And he goes, yeah, it's just baseball. I don't even know what the guy's name is. I never even heard of him. A very subtle, F-U to Heinerman. But that's what I'm talking about. That whole thing, man. The Yanks just have that edge right now. They have it. They have that edge. Even after the hit by pitch, Donaldson flips his friggin' bat. Just so much swagger to him. You know what I mean? Top of the 8th inning, they do kind of bounce back, the Jays. Gurriel with the RBI double when Chad Green enters the game. 1 second here. But this was one of the more frustrating moments of the game. The most frustrating moment of the game. So Gurriel gets the double off Green. But you got Aaron Hicks in left field getting lazy again. And he did the same thing last time versus Toronto this season, where he let Vladimir stretch a single into a double that was hit straight to center field. He jogs to the ball. I mean, he practically, if you ran any slower, the jog, it wouldn't have been a jog, it would have been a walk. He fields it slowly. He takes extra steps. He double pumps, and he throws a weak, I think Cone said it was a 83 mile an hour throw to the relay man, IKF, who made a bad throw. First of all, he should have just let Judge catch that because Judge actually has an arm, and he could have made a stronger throw to the relay. It would have been there faster. Could have had a shot at getting the runner there. And I also don't think that Hicks was baiting Vladimir Guerrero Jr. because we've spent 5 seasons, maybe more, now with Aaron Hicks, and we've seen him dog it a few times out there, even in his moments where he's not trying to bait guys. And we've seen him dog it to first base several times. It's 4-3 after this. Toronto leads. But just the fact that he continues to show a little effort is even more maddening and frustrating and pisses you off further when you consider the fact that he's done absolutely nothing at the plate ever since that hot start where he led the team in average and in OPS. If you're not going to hit, you better damn well field, or else you should not be out there. It's 4-3. Kirk then gets the sac fly to make it 5-3. Chad Green deserves some blame here because he's the Aaron Hicks of relief pitchers. Anytime he's in, when it matters, he flops. I cannot stand watching him a lot. I can't. He's the king of putting up numbers because in empty base situations. He's Aaron Hicks. He can't do it when it matters. Bottom of the 9th comes, and that's when the Yankees win the game, obviously. First of all, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa strikes out. But then, in my opinion, you get Trevino with the key walk. This is the key moment of the game, in my opinion. Jose Trevino's at-bat. Just an excellent at-bat. Excellent. We expect nothing from these catchers. So it was so big that he was able to get to the top of the lineup with only one out. So that, to me, was where the game was lost for the Toronto Blue Jays. Then DJ also draws a big walk. Then you got first and second with one out for Aaron Judge. And puts together another tremendous at-bat. Romano goes slider 3 times to start the at-bat. You think he's definitely not going to go fastball. Then he goes fastball on a 1-2 count. Judge fouls it off. And then he goes back to the slider a couple times. And on the 6th pitch of the at-bat, he hangs the living shit out of a cement mixer slider. And Judge takes full advantage of it. And he belts this shit deep to left field. This was no short porcher. All right, this was no Chris Woodward home run. It was a deep shot to left field. K was going nuts. Yankee Stadium, I can only imagine, was going wild, all 35K. And, I'm going nuts here, too. It's 6-5. The Yankees walk it off and win. And, listen, I still stand by what I said. I think, heading into the season, the Yankees made a more than fair offer to Aaron Judge. Okay? I can also say that Judge, obviously, he wants to get a little more, and the way he's performing so far, I understand it. In the series, he goes 3 for 9 in this 2-game set. 2 singles and a homer. 3 RBIs, a strikeout, no walks, 6 total bases. He finally came through in what I call a money spot with his first career walk-off home run Tuesday night. I think prior to that had maybe 3 or so walk-off moments with a walk and a couple of hits in there. But this season is feel like not just in like those bottom of the ninth situations, but just in the clutch in general, Aaron Hicks has failed a lot before that at-bat. He has had a lot of moments where he had not come through, and I've been getting on him for that. That's actually where I came up with the term money spot, because this season we've witnessed a lot of times so far where Judge hasn't come through in those spots. Last year he was pretty good in those spots, but this year in money spots he hadn't been. But he comes up there in a game where the Yankees are behind. They need a 3-run shot just to win the game, and Judge belts it. Big moment for him. So credit to him. He comes up clutch, and I think that was Romano's first blown save of the year. And again, if you're a Toronto fan, you're more angry about that Trevino at bat than you are anything else. Aaron Judge is Aaron Judge. He's leading the majors in homers. But this is, Trevino is at the plate. This is the Yankees' automatic out taking the plate. This is their number 9 hitter. The top of the order is due up right after this. So you got to throw him strikes. You've got to be able to trust your defense, which Toronto's got a pretty good defense, and throw the guy strikes. It's Jose Trevino. So if you're Romano, that's a pretty inexcusable walk right there. You've got to go at him. But the best part of that inning is, although I was a little down, I felt a lot more confident that the Yankees could take this game than I have in previous years in those moments. I don't know, man. This team just seems to have that clutch factor right now. They do. So the lineup produces 6 runs. Big moment there at the end. Severino. Listen, the first and second inning, he allows 6 batters to reach, throws 62 pitches. He's laboring. But he does a nice job escaping it. He escapes the first inning with 3 straight swinging strikeouts. He struggles in the second. Obviously, the review call was overturned, but he gets out of it. And the third and fourth innings, he goes 1, 2, 3. Strikes out the side in the fourth. Fifth inning, he gets the first 2 batters out, then he's pulled after the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. single. So his final line of the night, 4.2 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, a couple of walks, 8 strikeouts, a home run, 97 pitches. Not the greatest line. Third consecutive outing where his line didn't look the prettiest. But also, I think a younger Severino lets those last 3 outings turn into clunkers. But this Severino seems a bit more mature, and he ends up making it not a bad outing considering everything. Because he finds a way to stay in it and grind it out. So, I had no problem with it. I think Severino's been okay this year. Definitely their worst pitcher. But that sounds worse than it is, because this pitching staff has been so great, so electric, that Severino having an ERA barely 4 is absolutely fine. We will take that. I expected him to not be Severino that we, saw in his first 2 seasons or whatever it was. But if he can give you this while everybody else is holding up their end of the bargain, I'm absolutely fine with it. And the bullpen was fine. Outside of Green. Overall the bullpen, 4.1 innings, 2 hits allowed, 2 runs, couple of walks, hit batter, 7 strikeouts, no home runs allowed. Castro threw an inning and a third. He was good. Lasagna pitched an inning. Green, an inning pitched. Like I said, he's the anti-clutch. And if you're Aaron Boone, if you're going with Green in a tight game, I prefer you at least do it at the top of an inning with nobody on base and not coming in with inherited runners already on. I think that's my one nitpick. And then Peralta was after Green, threw a clean inning, got the win. Yankee bats, like I said, 6 runs. We're able to get the 6 runs there at the end. 5 hits. 7 walks, 10 strikeouts, 3 for 8 in scoring position, 7 left on base. Not bad. Judge and Hicks carried the offense with 2 hits apiece. Each of them get a home run in there, and each of them driving in 3 runs. DJ LeMahieu and Aaron Hicks also reach a base twice. And like I said, the Yankees were getting no hit for a while by Kikuchi, but they finally get to him at the end. And then, the bottom of the order. Actually, I think IKF was 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. But it was like from Donaldson down to the bottom. Donaldson, Hicks, Gleyber, IKF, and Higgy were 0 for 14. But I mentioned IKF because he's been struggling for a bit now. He has been not the same. I think in IKF's... I think in his head, it's like if I'm struggling... It's one of those things that we talked about with Gleyber. If you're struggling at the plate, you bring it onto the field. And he's kind of been doing that a little lately. He did that at the start of the year. He was struggling in both spots, shortstop and at the plate. And he's kind of doing that a bit lately. He's not playing the greatest shortstop. He was supposed to be a great shortstop for us, but he's had some moments. And then at the plate, he's hitless in his last 5 games. After peaking to .314 batting average, he has now went 1 for 20. He's batting .50 his last 6 games, down to .256 on the year. I was listening to a little bit of Talking Yanks, and Jake was making a very good point. He said how, like, when you're a slap hitter like IKF is, you're a contact guy, not known for the power. When you go into a slump, your numbers are going to look extra bad. The 0 home runs weren't loud at all when he was batting over 300 and had the OPS in the 700s, right? Nobody was talking about how he had no home runs. But now you see his line, and you look at the 250-something average, the 600-something OPS, and the 0 home run stands out even more. It just makes it seem like he's having a terrible year when you look at it now. But overall, I think he will be fine. I think he'll end up batting around 280, give or take, for the Yankees. I think he's the perfect bottom-of-the-order guy. Some protection around him should help him see more fastballs, which is why I think he should bat 9th. Him back-to-back with DJs, that's a pretty lethal 1-2. And that's the first game of the set. The Yankees walk it off. Judge with a magical moment there at the end. Let's talk about the second game, which took place earlier today. Midday game on Thursday. We'll be right back. We're going to get right into it. Stay with us.
Hey guys. So I've noticed that only a small portion of you who watch BD4 on YouTube are actually subscribed. So if you do enjoy this podcast and maybe you want to be notified when new episodes release, I'd consider subscribing and also hitting that notification bell. This way we can help the channel grow and you won't miss a single episode of BD4. Alright, let's get back to it. So, if you guys want to follow me on social media, be sure to do so right now. I'm on Facebook at rjcarbone, and I'm also on Instagram at rjcarbone. Once again, if you want to find me on Facebook, that is rjcarbone. Instagram at robjcarbone.
All right, welcome back to the show. I am your host, RJ Carbone, and you are listening to episode 366 of BD4. Earlier today, the Yankees took game 2 of this set. 5-3 victory over the Blue Jays. It was Jameson Taillon going up against Jose Berrios. Top of the first inning. Again, the Yankees coming from behind. Teoscar Hernandez with the RBI fielder's choice. It's 1-0 Toronto. Bottom of the first, the Yanks go down 1-2-3. Bottom of the second, just a Gallo base hit, nothing else. Bottom of the third, they go down 1-2-3 again versus Berrios. Bottom of the fourth, though, they finally crack the board. Anthony Rizzo and DJ LeMahieu with back-to-back base hits. Gleyber Torres then goes to the right field porch, Chris Woodward. Is that okay, everybody? Is he allowed to hit a home run in his own ballpark? Or does it have to be a certain standard? It's 3-1 Yankees. Bottom of the fifth comes. The Yanks go down 1-2-3 again. Top of the sixth, Matt Chapman with the sacrifice fly. It's 3-2. But the Yankees kind of pull away a bit in the bottom of the sixth when Rizzo draws a one-out walk. DJ picks up a one-out double from the cleanup spot, which was interesting. Jose Barrios is then pulled after 5 1/3 innings, leaves 2 men on base for Richards to come into the game. And that's when Gleyber, a line drive base hit to center field versus the right-hander Richards. And just using that balanced right center field approach, DJ makes a great slide at home to score. It's 5-2 Yankees. All those runs were on Jose's line, so he ends up letting up 5 earned runs. Bottom of the seventh, the Yankees do put a couple runners on. Marwin and Judge, single versus Thornton, but they cannot tack on. Bottom of the eighth, they'll go down 1-2-3 against Baroki. And then in the top of the ninth, Chapman, a little bit of a scare. 1 run comes across, but he gets the save, and the Yanks win 5-3. I think this was a very good outing by Jameson Taillon. And as you can see on the screen, if you are watching the video format of this podcast, 5.1 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 4 strikeouts, a walk, 6 hits allowed, 4 singles and 2 doubles, 85 total pitches. He has been tremendous so far this year for the Yankees. Now, he got in trouble early. First inning, he put the first 3 batters on base, bases loaded, nobody out. Right, he walks George Springer, gives up a base hit to Bichette, and then Vlad Jr. is hit by a pitch in the middle of the count. But then he ends up getting out of it with just 1 run across. Very impressive. A very nice job. And, Toronto continues to struggle offensively. It seemed like it was going to be one of those Taillon regression games, though. He had been so good, but no. From there, he finds it. He found the zone, and he settled in. In the second inning, he goes 1-2-3. In the third inning, just a Vlad base hit. Other than that, 0 legitimate damage. In the fourth inning, a Kirk double, but that was all. He did not score. Fifth inning, Bichette, 2-out double, but he gets a huge out, Taillon does, when Vladimir Guerrero strikes out on a cutter, swinging on an outside cutter. It was a backdoor cutter. Or was that a front door? Sixth inning comes. Taillon lets up a few singles, but then he leaves the game with 2 on base. 1 out for Michael King. But yeah, all in all, considering it was a pretty good outing for Jameson Taillon. Once again, like I said, 5.1 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 85 total pitches. Didn't allow a homer. Continuing to just get ground ball after ground ball, using that cutter to his advantage. He's been under the radar, very great for the Yankees this season. Very good. He's allowed 2 runs or less in each of his 6 starts this year. He hasn't had a start where he's not kept the team in the game. And he's now 3-1 with the win, with an ERA of 2.9. So, I think what's key is he's limiting traffic. He's got 25 strikeouts versus 3 walks this season. That's why he's been so effective. Limiting traffic. With men on base this year, Taillon is limiting batters to a 163 average and a 549 OPS. Now, I don't know if that's updated. Yeah. Very good regardless. And a 111 average in scoring position versus Taillon. He's been great. This was his 3rd time through. His 3rd time facing the Blue Jays this season. So that's very impressive. Yes, the Jays are struggling, but they have talent. As much as I hate them and as much as they're struggling, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that Vladimir Guerrero Jr., that Bo Bichette, George Springer, Gurriel, Hernandez, even Matt Chapman aren't good hitters. They're good, talented hitters. And, also the Yankees holding them in check for 9 games has a lot to do with their lineup not being the same this year. So you got to give credit to Taillon, give credit to the bullpen, continuing to shut it down. 3.2 innings, 3 hits, a run, a walk, 3 Ks, and no home runs allowed. King pitched an inning, allowed a hit. I think he allowed that sac fly. Not as great, once again. Second consecutive outing where he was not as great, but whatever. Holmes comes in, pitches an inning and 2/3, allows a hit, no runs to come across, though. He has gotten into 7 double play situations this season, and has gotten the double play, I think I saw 3 times. I said 3 or 4. Regardless, he just continues to pound the zone with that heavy sinker ball that he has. Just easy peasy versus Vladimir Guerrero Jr. today. His ERA is now down to 0.55 on the season. The guy is a robot. He comes in and gets out. Aroldis Chapman, again, 1 inning, gets the save there in the 9th. He allowed his first earned run on the season today. It was his 13th outing, his 12th inning pitching. But, so he's been great. And the bats today, 5 runs came across, 8 hits allowed, 1 walk, 8 hits against Toronto pitching. We only drew 1 walk, but only struck out 6 times and went 2 for 5 with runners in scoring position. 4 men were left on base and did not hit into any double plays. Actually, both of these games, we did not hit into any double plays. And, DJ and Gleyber Torres, 2 hits apiece. Actually, Gleyber, produced all 5 runs for the Yankees today. He goes 2 for 8 in the 2 games, a single and a homer, 5 RBIs, 1 K, no walks, 5 total bases. He had more RBIs in today's game, 5, than Gallo has all year with 4. Just as many as Hicks on the year, who has 5. So, 5 more RBIs for Gleyber. That's awesome. The yes was showing a graphic. He's batting .273 in his last 17 games. So he's keeping that, like I said, up the middle to right field, right center approach lately. That's great. You want to see him have that balanced swing. He's also got 18 RBIs and 5 home runs on the year. And his OPS is now in the 700s. So maybe, just maybe, he's going to have a decent season. And I also like him in that 5-6 spot in the order, too. At the moment, it's working. But, yeah, he's producing runs. I would say he's been more of a... As weird as it sounds, because I know the average isn't there and the OPS is a little low. I feel like he's been more of a positive this year than a negative because he's... he got off to an awful start. But like I said, for the last 17 games, he's actually been a pretty productive hitter. And, his defense... could have been a little better this series. There was that one play where he didn't get in front of a ball and chose to stick his glove out. And, I don't know if they scored it in error, but it was definitely an error. But overall, other than that, he's looked pretty good at second base. But, a good win. It looked like, when I saw the lineup today, it looked like it was going to be another one of those punt days. It did. Stanton was sitting. Donaldson was sitting. Marwin Gonzalez was in. DJ's batting cleanup, and Hicks is leading off. It looked like one of those, all right, we'll settle with the split with the Jays. We're the best team in baseball right now. We've got a big road trip coming up, early travel. Taillon struggling early. But no, the Yankee bats find a way to put it together. The pitching puts it together. But, after scoring 2 runs or less over the last 4 games heading into this series, we end up scoring 6 runs on Tuesday and 5 runs on Wednesday. Now, we still only hit 13 for 62, which is .210 in the series. But maybe scoring the runs, just seeing the runs cross the plate, indicates that their offense is coming back to them a little bit. And, even when their offense is struggling, they find a way to be clutch. It's a very clutch, very resilient lineup right now. 10 comeback wins on the season already, which is first in Major League Baseball per KD Sharp. 4 walk-off victories this season, which is also first in Major League Baseball. So the offense has been clutch. The pitching, that's been the story. The pitching has been their identity. I mean, Jesus Christ, man. You cannot ask for more from this pitching staff. They lead baseball, or the American League. They're second in the majors with ERA, a 2.6. They have allowed only 20 home runs, knock on wood, on the season. That's the second best mark in the league. And when you consider that's versus 286 strikeouts, the third most, and 263 groundouts, the 10th best, that's an excellent ratio. So, credit to Matt Blake for getting this pitching staff looking really good for his second consecutive season. Top to bottom, all 14 pitchers, however many we carry. They've been phenomenal. They've been absolutely phenomenal. Now, I was listening to the press conference, all right, and I've been giving Boone some praise this season. They asked him about his hot start and what do you think it means in the presser, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit here, but he goes, it's early, we're only 30 games in, and he says it a couple times to a few different questions. I loved it. Am I starting to hate Aaron Boone less? Am I starting to not despise him? I don't know. We got a long way to go. But, we talk about Boone's fire this year. Show him more fire with the ejections. And I'm about to sneeze. Hold on. Excuse me. We talk about that. You had the whole hit by pitch thing, like we said. It just feels like we have this, and I love the fact that we're abusing. It feels like we're abusing the living shit out of the short porch this season, way more than we have in the past. But that's what makes it so much sweeter, because you consider all the other things that give us this FU type of mentality, and then you consider that we're abusing this 314 short porch. You have fans around the league you already know are having aneurysms on their couch. You've got players and managers complaining about the short porch. And I just love it. I love that. I hope that every home run the Yankees hit from now on is no longer than 314 feet. I love the fact that they were abusing the short porch. That's what makes me happy, is when everybody else gets angry about it and the Yankees continue to do it. That's what I want. I want to be the bad guys again. This is how we do it. And I love that there's this little feud going on now between the Yankees and the Jays, right? I love hating the Blue Jays. The amount of times that Vlad Jr. did not come through in big spots so far this season against the Yankees and getting mad at himself after, beautiful. Artwork. A masterpiece. That whole breaking the bat over his knee after striking out versus Taillon on that backdoor cutter, it is a photo that belongs in a museum. If somebody has the photo of him snapping his bat over his knees, send it to me, because I will frame it. And it needs a caption for context, obviously. Garbage and clutch versus the Yankees. But yeah, that team is so rattled when they play us. You could see they want to beat us so bad, because when they celebrate, they act like they win the World Series. I love it. I hate Vlad Jr. I hate Springer. Fuck the Astros. Yep, still talking about it. I hate Bichette. Cut your hair. I hate Gurriel. Your hair is weird. I just hate the Blue Jays, and I love hating them. They are an inferior bum team who are mediocre. They're a boring, shitty, overrated 17 and 15 team. They're in third place at the moment. They're now 6 games behind the Yankees in the East. I love it. Listen, they're young and promising. I'm just bitter right now because I don't like the attention they were getting. And I was giving them a lot of hype. I think I picked them to win the division, honestly, in one of our preseason episodes. But I love this little, rivalry that's brewing. It's kind of like when the rivalry with the Yankees and the Rays started brewing around Sabathia's later days. But yeah, everything's good. I think the only qualms right now is, in terms of the players on the team, maybe Joey Gallo still sucks. Aaron Hicks, kind of talked about him. Excuse me, I can't wait until the deadline, man. One of them needs to go. But my one tweak, why did we start changing the order again? Because for a while it was DJ LeMahieu, Aaron Judge, Anthony Rizzo, Giancarlo Stanton, Josh Donaldson, whoever in the 6 and 7. Then you had catcher and IKF, and then the catcher 8 and 9. Right? But now it's like we're starting to toy with it, and Boone's being this mad scientist that Kay calls him, changing it up a little more. A little too much. I think Hicks has let off at least maybe 3 times in the last 5 games. 2 or 3 times. I want to say 3. But just keep sticking with what got you that 11-game streak. But we're on fire still. 17 out of 19. Or is it? No, it's 15 out of 17. 15-2 in our last 17 games. We're hot. You know, after the game today, Marinaccio was optioned because Luis Gil is coming up to pitch tomorrow. Now, Gil is struggling right now. Okay, he's not doing well down in AAA. He's got a 9.53 ERA through 5 starts. I was looking at the game log. Bit of a mixed bag. 2 mediocre starts, 2 awful starts, and 1 good start his last time out. He went 5 innings, 2 runs against Rochester Red Wings. But I'm excited for him nonetheless. I'm a big fan of his stuff. I also think he has a little bit of intensity when he comes up here, pumping his fist into his glove after strikeouts. And, last year I thought he showed some promise. At the end of the summer, entering the fall, he came up here and he looked pretty good. Yeah, overall great. The Yankees are 22-8. They've got a .733 win percentage, which is almost equivalent to taking 3 of every 4 games. Very good. They got a plus 52 run differential, which is the only positive run differential in the American League East so far, which we thought was going to be a beast of a division. So far, the Yankees are taking good care. Long way to go, but you can't complain too much about what's been going on. Chicago White Sox are next. They are a game above 500. I think they're in second place in their division. Things are good in New York. I hate the Mets. I hate them. And I want them to lose every single game they play. I will say, if these 2 teams keep playing the way that they are, that by the time the first Subway Series is upon us, and I don't think that's until late July, so like I said, we've got a lot to see what happens, and the Mets usually end up pulling off of Mets and collapse in the second half. But if they are both on top of their games come late July when the first Subway Series of the season occurs, going to be some juice to it, man. Going to be a lot of fire to that series. It's going to be exciting. But yeah, other than that, Luis Gil tomorrow. Garrett Cole, I'm pretty sure, is on Friday, and then Saturday it'll be Jordan Montgomery. Thursday, Friday, Saturday in Chicago against the White Sox. We might see a lot of Lucas Litke tomorrow, just because, again, Gil's probably going to be on a short leash, and Litke, obviously with Toronto being a right-handed heavy lineup, didn't get to see any of him this series. We actually haven't seen Litke since May 3rd, which I think was against Toronto. But yeah, I have nothing to complain about. Let's head to our final break, and when we get back from break, we will wrap this one up with the NYY-NYK-MMA Question of the Day and RJ's Parlay for episode 366. Stay with us. Be right back.
So BD4 is on so many platforms to listen to. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud. You can listen to us on Spotify. You can find us on our sponsor, Anchor, and many other listening platforms as well, wherever you get your podcast. But we are also available to watch on YouTube. So if you want to watch us on YouTube, go subscribe there. But if you prefer to listen to us, again, many listening platforms. Just be sure to subscribe, download, give us a rating, a review, comment, share the podcast, and all that fun stuff. This is BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. All right, folks. Now, if you are listening to BD4 on Apple Podcasts, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a review, if you so please. So once again, this is if you are listening to BD4 on Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star rating and review. Thank you.
All right, welcome back to BD4. You are listening to episode 366. Let's get to our NYY-NYK-MMA question of the day. So for episode 366, our NYY-NYK-MMA question of the day is, which former Yankees slugger led the American League in total bases in 2009? All right, which former Yankees slugger led the American League in total bases in 2009? So let me know the answer wherever you can reach me. If you get the answer correct, I will give you a shout out in the next episode. If you don't get it correct, but you at least attempt to guess the answer, I will let you know what the answer is in the next show. So one last time, which former Yankees slugger led the American League in total bases in 2009? All right. Now, let's wrap it up with RJ's parlay. I want to talk about this one, man. Let's get to RJ's parlay. Welcome to RJ's Parlay, where my degenerate self breaks down tonight's parlay. If I miss, it's not surprising. If I hit, I'll probably lose it all tomorrow night, because that's how this works. Welcome to RJ's Parlay. Now tonight's parlay, with this afternoon's parlay, we finally cashed on a Yankees parlay. As you can see on the screen, if you are watching the show, we had a 6-pick parlay, and the odds were plus 364. Plus 364 odds on a 6-pick parlay, and we cashed it 6 out of 6. We had the over of 3.5 alternate total runs. We had the alternate run line of Yankees plus 5.5. We had Berrios allowing 3 hits or more. We had Taillon with 4 strikeouts or more. And then we had Rizzo and DJ with at least 1 total base apiece. And again, we were 6 for 6 on that plus 364 6-pick parlay, and we cashed it. Now, I had another one for that basketball game that just ended as I'm speaking. It was the Jesus Christ, how do I not know what the fucking game? Oh, it was the Bucks-Celtics game. I'm so mad because this was a plus 403, and I would have won so much money if I would have hit it. And I had hit 4 out of the 5, and the one I missed was Brook Lopez not getting 5 rebounds. He ended up getting 3 rebounds, so I was 2 rebounds away from hitting a plus 403 5-pick parlay that I put down a decent amount on. So I would have been buying everybody dinner tomorrow night if I would have hit this. But I missed it by 2. Fortunately, it was the DraftKings 4 out of 5 get your refund parlay, so I do get my money back in a free bet. But still, I was so frustrated that I missed that one because that was the big one for me. But we did cash in on the one earlier, and that's it, guys. Thank you for tuning in. That's all we got for this one. Like I said, the Yanks are looking good, 22-8, first place in baseball, and we'll see how far this goes. We will see. So the Chicago White Sox are up next. Should be interesting. And that's it. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, rjcarbone. You are listening to episode 366 of BD4. And I'll see you in the next one. All right, guys. Ciao.
This podcast is brought to you by Anchor. It's the best way to make a podcast. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm.